The abandoned signal. The stars were quiet that night, but the silence was broken by a strange signal. It was weak, broken, and old, but clearly human. Captain Raynor sat on the command deck of the starship Valkyrie, staring at the repeating message. It played again and again, a woman's voice whispering in fear. "Please, just take me, use me if you must, but don't leave me here." The crew was confused. That planet code name E47 was listed as dead. No missions, no life, no reason to go. But that voice was human, and Raynor couldn't ignore it. "It could be a trap," said Jenna, the weapons officer. Raynor nodded. "Or it could be someone we left behind." He gave the order. "Set course for E47. The planet looked cold and gray from orbit. Thick clouds covered the surface, and there was no sign of cities or lights. But deep beneath the clouds, scanners found a small structure. An old Earth research outpost, long forgotten. The logs showed it was shut down 70 years ago. When the team landed, dust covered everything. There was no wind, no animals, not even the hum of machines. Only silence. Raynor, Jenna, and 2 others stepped out of the ship in full gear. The outpost door opened with a groan. The metal rusted and old. Inside, the halls were dark and frozen in time. Old papers, broken screens. Chairs left as if people had just walked away. "It's like they just vanished," whispered Jenna. Raynor nodded again, his hand near his weapon. They moved carefully, lighting each corridor. Room by room, no bodies, no blood, just empty space. And cold air. Then they reached the control room. That's where they saw one blinking light on the main console. A cryostasis pod, active and functioning. "This is impossible," said Dr. Kiran, the team's medic. "No power should be." Left after so many years. Raynor walked closer, brushing the dust off the glass. Inside the pod was a young woman, asleep, barely breathing. She looked no older than 20, her body frozen but alive. Dr. Kiran started the wake-up process. As the machine hissed and the glass slowly opened, the woman gasped. Her eyes opened wide. In panic, she looked around quickly and then whispered, "You came back. You actually came back." The team exchanged glances. Unsure what to say, Raynor stepped forward. "Who are you? What happened here?" But she didn't answer. She stared into the dark corner of the room and whispered, "Is it gone? Please tell me it's gone." Suddenly, the lights flickered. A low hum came from beneath the floor, like something had just woken up. The woman screamed and grabbed Raynor's arm. "Don't leave me. Please, not again." Jenna pointed her scanner at the floor. "I'm picking up movement," she said, "but it's not human." The crew was now on full alert. Weapons ready, Dr. Kiran spoke softly to the girl, trying to calm her. "What's your name? Do you remember anything?" She shook her head, tears in her eyes. "I don't remember my name," she said. "All I know is I've been waiting here for someone, anyone." Raynor looked around the room. Strange symbols were carved into the walls. Alien, not human, not human. He didn't remember seeing those in any Earth design. They glowed faintly, like they were alive. "What is this place?" he asked aloud, more to himself than anyone else. The woman suddenly stood up, still weak. "You need to leave?" she said. "It's still down there, and it's hungry." The floor rumbled slightly, like something huge had. Shifted below the base, Jenna turned to Raynor. "Captain, we need to decide now. Either take her and leave, or go deeper and find out what this thing is." Raynor looked at the girl again. She was scared, shaking, but her eyes held something else too. A shadow of something she hadn't said yet. The message played again in his earpiece, the same one that had called them here. "Please, just take me, use me if you must, but don't leave me here." He realized something then. This wasn't a normal rescue. This was something darker, something buried. And now they had woken it up Asterisk the girl who never aged. The girl's name was Ava. Or at least that's what she whispered when they carried her back to the ship. Her voice was weak, as if every word came from another lifetime. I don't remember much, she said, but I know I wasn't supposed to wake up. Captain Rayner watched her closely. She looked 20, maybe 21, with bright eyes that seemed too calm for someone frozen for 70 years. Her skin was pale but unaged, her heartbeat steady. No human should survive that long in cryo, especially not alone. It didn't make sense. And that's what scared him the most. Back on the Valkyrie, Ava sat quietly in the medbay, staring at her reflection in the glass. I was left behind, she whispered, but not alone. Jenna leaned closer. What do you mean? Who else was down there? Ava didn't answer. Instead, she asked a question of her own, one that sent chills through the room. Did you hear the whispers too? The room fell silent. Rayner frowned. Whispers? Ava nodded. In the walls, in the dark? It speaks. When you're afraid, suddenly, Dr. Kieran's scanner beeped. Everyone turned to the screen. Her brain activity was off the charts, hyperactive, glowing in patterns no human should have. This isn't possible, Kieran said. It's like she's been enhanced. Rayner stepped forward. Enhanced how? The doctor hesitated. Her DNA, it's changed. Changed into what? Jenna asked, voice sharp. That's the thing, he replied. It's not just human anymore. Ava flinched as if she heard that. I didn't want this, she said softly. They made me part of something? Something they didn't understand. Rayner's eyes narrowed. Who? Who did this to you? Ava's hands began to shake. The researchers, she whispered. They found something buried. Not technology, not a creature, but a mind, Jenna. Stepped back. A mind? Like a consciousness? Ava nodded, tears falling now. They connected me to it. I became its voice. Rayner leaned in. You mean the signal? She nodded again. I didn't send it with my hands. I sent it with my thoughts, before anyone could respond. The Valkyrie's lights flickered. Then the ship's AI crackled on. Warning! Unauthorized system access detected. The crew scrambled, checking consoles and monitors. One of the screens showed movement back at the outpost, the one they just left. Something was active again. Rayner clenched his jaw. We shut everything down. Jenna pointed at the data. Something turned it back on. Ava stood, unsteady. It knows you came. Now it wants to meet you. Rayner turned to her. What does it want from us? Her answer was quiet, but terrifying. It wants to become human. Silence fell over the room. Dr. Kieran said what no one else wanted to hear. It's using her, and it's learning. Suddenly, one of the crew mills? The engineer screamed from the engine bay. The crew ran down the corridor and found him shaking on the floor, eyes wide with fear. He kept repeating the same sentence. It's in the walls. It's watching her. Rayner helped him up, but Ava didn't follow. She stood at the end of the corridor, staring into nothing. I remember now, she whispered. I wasn't the first. Jenna turned to her. The first what? Ava didn't blink. The first they experimented on. The others. They didn't survive. She looked straight into Rayner's eyes. But they didn't die either, in that moment. Every light on the ship turned red. The AI voice returned. Intrusion detected. Internal movement life form unregistered. Jenna grabbed her rifle. We brought something back with us. Rayner looked at Ava, heart pounding. Or maybe, he thought, it never left. Ava closed her eyes and spoke words no one understood. Not English, not any Earth language, but the walls of the ship seemed to respond, groaning softly, breathing almost. And for the first time, Ava smiled, not in joy, but like someone remembering who they really are. You have to go back, she said, voice deeper now. You have to see what they left behind. Raynor stepped back slowly. What if we don't? Ava turned her head slowly, her eyes now glowing faintly. Then it will come to you. Forgotten experiments. The crew returned to the planet. They didn't want to, but they had no choice. The Valkyrie's systems were being slowly taken over, not from outside, but from within. And Ava kept repeating one thing over and over again. You have to go back, or it will finish waking up. Captain Raynor led the team, his pulse tight in his neck. The outpost looked the same cold, dead, broken. But the deeper they went, the less human it felt. The air was thicker, the shadows longer. The metal walls had changed. They weren't rusting anymore. They were healing. What is this? Whispered Jenna, her rifle aimed at nothing but shadows. Dr. Kieran scanned the wall with his handheld device. This structure is alive now, he said. This isn't Earth tech anymore. They reached a sealed door deep underground, one the original team hadn't touched. Ava walked up without a word, placed her hand on the panel. The door hissed open like it had been waiting. Behind it was a massive lab, dark and silent. Rows of broken tanks, shattered glass, and dried blood told the story. Raynor moved slowly, his flashlight sweeping over strange machines. This is where it happened, Ava said, voice dull. This is where I was changed. The crew spread out, searching for data, answers, anything. Dr. Kieran found a dusty terminal still flickering. With some effort, he pulled up the last video log. The screen came to life with a shaky recording. A scientist, pale, wide-eyed, clearly terrified, spoke into the camera. We opened something. A signal buried under the planet. Not a sound, but a mind. Behind him, a scream echoed, and then static. Next, the screen showed something worse. Human bodies in tanks, eyes wide open, but empty. One moved slowly, twitching. Not dead, not alive either. The screen cut to black. The message was clear. They had tried to merge something alien with human test subjects, and Ava was the only one who survived, but she didn't survive unchanged. Raynor turned to her. Why are you still alive? Why only you? Ava looked around the room, as if it remembered her too. Because I stopped fighting it, she said. I let it in. Suddenly, lights across the room flickered to life. One of the tanks powered on, glowing with blue light. Inside, it was a human figure, floating, eyes closed, but clearly not dead. Its body was wrong, too long, too thin, skin marked with alien veins. Jenna stepped back. What is that? Ava whispered. That was Subject 11. Raynor's voice was sharp. How many subjects were there? Ava looked him in the eyes. 13. Before anyone could react, the tank's glass cracked. The creature inside twitched, then opened its eyes. Eyes just like Ava's, glowing, alive, aware. It knows we're here, Ava said, backing away. And now it remembers. The creature broke free with a sharp screech, crawling on all fours. It didn't attack, it just stared at Ava. It tilted its head, and then smiled. Jenna raised her weapon. Permission to fire? Raynor hesitated, but Ava stepped forward and said something in that strange language again. The creature paused, tilted its head, then screamed and disappeared into the shadows. It's not done, Ava said, breathing hard. It's going to wake the others. Raynor turned to Kieran. Can we destroy this lab? Kieran shook his head. Not fast enough. Suddenly, Ava collapsed to her knees. Clutching her head, she screamed as a deep voice echoed through the room, not from speakers, but inside their minds. We remember pain. We remember fire. We remember. Her. Ava's voice twisted, layered with something darker. They want me back, she cried. They want to finish what they started. Raynor pulled her to her feet. We're not leaving you behind, he said, but Ava looked at him, terrified. What if I'm already one of them? For a moment, no one spoke. Then a loud alarm blared from the hallway. Motion sensors triggered, more tanks were opening. Raynor shouted, "Fall back! Now!" As they ran, Ava looked back one last time. In the darkness, a dozen glowing eyes opened, staring straight at her. Asterisk, the thing that watches. They ran, but it didn't feel like escape. Every step through the dark tunnels echoed louder, like something was listening. Behind them, the lab was waking up, glass cracking, sirens wailing, and heavy footsteps moving in the shadows. But nothing chased them, not yet, because it didn't need to. Raynor led the team up the service tunnels. Toward the surface, Ava ran beside him, pale, sweating, holding her head like it was going to break open. "They're not following," Jenna said. "Why?" Ava didn't answer at first, then whispered, "They already know where we're going." The team reached the surface, gasping for breath. The sky above was darker than before, clouds swirling unnaturally. The Valkyrie was in view, but the ships. Lights were flickering red. Raynor tapped his comms. "Valkyrie, come in." Only static. They approached carefully, weapons ready. The loading ramp was down, but the inside was silent, too silent. Dr. Kieran stepped in first, scanning for life. "Signs? There's something on board," he said, "but it's not human." The crew entered slowly, checking every hallway. Blood trails, twisted metal, broken lights, but no bodies. It looked like someone had fought something. And lost. Then they heard it. A low growl, not mechanical, not human. It came from behind the walls. Raynor raised his weapon. "Show yourself." But nothing came out. Instead, the ship's lights dimmed and the floor vibrated softly, like something big was breathing below their feet. Ava froze, eyes wide. "It's here," she said. "Not one of them. The first one." "The Watcher." Jenna frowned. "What's the Watcher?" Ava turned slowly to face them. "The thing that was buried under this planet before humans ever came," she said. "It didn't want to kill us. It wanted to learn us." Suddenly, all the screens on the ship flashed at once. Images from each crew member's memory, fears, secrets, all flickering in front of their eyes. Raynor saw his younger brother dying in a space accident. Jenna saw herself surrounded by fire, helpless. Kieran dropped to his knees, shaking. "It's inside my mind." Ava screamed, "Don't look at it. It feeds on emotion, on guilt, on fear." Jenna fired blindly at the wall, screaming, "Get out of my head." But the bullets hit only metal. Then the voice returned, calm, cold, and deep, not through speakers, but in their bones. "You are stories. You are memory. You are food." Raynor turned to Ava. "You said you made a deal." She nodded slowly, trembling. "When the others were dying, I begged it to spare me. In return, I agreed to become its door." Jenna pointed her gun at Ava. "You brought this thing here." Ava didn't deny it. Tears rolled down her face. "I was 17. Alone, I didn't want to die." Raynor lowered Jenna's weapon. "She's not the enemy." But he wasn't sure if that was true anymore. Suddenly, the ship powered down completely. Red lights blinked once, then died. The air grew cold, breath visible, and the shadows seemed to move. A shape appeared in the corridor behind them. Tall, thin, shifting, like it wasn't made of one thing, but many. It didn't walk, it flowed. No face, no form. Just a presence. The Watcher. It didn't speak. It didn't need to. Each of them felt something enter their minds, pulling out their worst thoughts, their oldest wounds. Raynor felt it digging through his past, searching for the moment he gave. Up on his brother, Kieran screamed and collapsed, blood coming from his ears. Jenna tried to run, but the corridor bent around her, leading her back to the same spot. Ava stepped forward, her hands glowing faintly. "I can stop it," she said. "But not forever." Raynor grabbed her arm. "How?" She looked at him, face full of pain. "Because I am part of it now." The Watcher paused, as if listening to her. Then it shrank back into the wall. Vanishing for now, the lights flickered back on. The ship breathed again, like it was waking. Up from a dream, Raynor stared at Ava. "You're its link," he said. She nodded slowly. "And it's growing stronger." Jenna pulled herself off the ground, blood on her lips. "What does it want?" she asked. Ava turned to face them all. "It wants to become one of you, but perfect. Not human, not alien. Something new." Raynor took a deep breath. "Then we destroy it before it finishes." Ava looked down. "You'll have to." "Go where it was born," she said. The place the scientists called the heart. The screen behind them lit up coordinates deep beneath the planet, far below the original lab. Unknown, uncharted, unseen by human eyes. The Watcher was waiting. There, and it wasn't watching anymore. It was calling. The deal with darkness. They stood in silence, staring at the screen. Coordinates blinked red deep below the planet, deeper than any scan had ever reached. The name on the file was simple, cold and final. The HEAR Tino maps. No data, no images. Just one warning, last updated 70 years ago. "Do not enter unless willing to give everything." Captain Raynor looked at his team. Only 3 were left now: Jenna, Kiran, and Ava. The others were gone, lost to the Watcher's games. "We go in," Raynor said quietly. Jenna shook her head. "You saw what it did to Mills, what it did to our minds. If we go down there, it's not just a fight, it's a sacrifice." Ava stepped forward, voice soft but sharp. "It's already too late not to go." She looked older now. Not in years, but in her eyes. They had changed again, still human, but deeper, like something else was watching through them. As the dropship descended toward the heart, the sky turned darker. Black lightning crackled over the mountains. The ground below pulsed slowly, like something buried. Was breathing. They landed at the edge of a massive crater. Stairs carved into ancient stone led downward. Not built by humans, not even by machines. They were grown. Each step took them deeper into a world untouched by time. The walls were alive, pulsing with light, showing symbols that changed when looked at. Jenna whispered, "This place isn't just alive. It's dreaming." Iva placed her hand on one of the walls, and it opened, not like a door, but like a wound. Inside was a massive chamber, filled with pods. But these weren't like the ones from the lab. These were older, organic, connected. By thick veins running into the floor, Raynor walked slowly, counting 13. He said. Ava nodded. "These are the original subjects," she said, "but they were never human." Dr. Kieran's scanner went wild. These things are made of thought, not matter," he said. "It's like they were downloaded here." Suddenly, one of the pods opened. The creature inside looked like Ava, but taller, sharper, colder. It stepped forward and smiled. Not cruel, not kind, just curious, like a child seeing itself in a mirror. "I've waited a long time," it said. Its voice echoed with many tones. Male, female, old, young all at once. "I was the first," it said, "and she was the last." It pointed at Ava. "She made the deal." Jenna raised her gun. "What deal?" Ava stepped forward, her voice cracking. They were dying, all of them, trapped between forms. They needed a bridge, something human enough to understand, and open enough to invite. I gave them that. Raynor's voice was low. "You let it in." Ava turned to him, eyes full of guilt. "I begged it not to kill me," she said. "And it offered survival for a price." The first creature stepped closer. "And now the price must be paid." It said, "One human, fully given, freely offered, will complete the merge. Then we will leave your kind in peace." The chamber pulsed with heat. Raynor clenched his fists. "You want one of us," he said. The creature nodded. "Not just the body, the soul," Jenna whispered. "This is madness." But Kieran stepped forward. "No," he said quietly. "Maybe this is mercy." Everyone stared at him. Kieran smiled sadly. I've spent my life trying to understand alien life, he said. And now it's offering to let us go. I'll do it. Ava grabbed his arm. No, you don't understand. If you go in there, you'll be changed forever. You'll be part of something that never dies. Kieran looked at her calm. Maybe that's better than what I've been. Raynor stepped forward, pulling him back. We don't give anyone up, he said. We fight. The chamber shook. The pods began to open. 13 figures stepped out, each one slightly human, but not quite. And all of them stared at Ava. You are still the bridge, they said in one voice. But you can choose again. Ava stood frozen, then turned to Raynor. If I go to them now, I can stop the merge. But I won't come back. Raynor's voice cracked. There has to be another way. She smiled softly. I made a deal with darkness, and I ran from it. Maybe now I end it. She stepped into the center of the chamber, arms open. The creatures surrounded her, merging into light and shadow. Her body began to glow, break apart, and reform brighter, heavier, more than human. Raynor shouted her name, but it was too late. The ground shook. The chamber split open. A beam of light shot upward through the planet, and everything went still. The 13 were gone. Ava was gone. Only silence remained. Then, from the darkness, a voice whispered soft, but changed. I remember you, asterisk. The human way silence filled the heart. The ground no longer shook. The chambers were empty. The 13 were gone, and Ava was no longer there. Captain Raynor stood frozen in the middle of the ancient room. Jenna beside him, her face pale, hands trembling. Dr. Kieran stared at the empty air where Ava had vanished. She did it, he whispered. She gave herself to stop them. But Raynor wasn't sure. He had seen too much. He had felt something when the merge happened, something cold, old, and intelligent. And it hadn't felt like peace. It had felt like a beginning. The crew made their way back to the Valkyrie. The ship still worked. Barely. Scanners were glitching. Power flickering comes down. The planet was silent again. But now too silent, like it was holding its breath. Orbit, Raynor accessed the ship's black box logs. He needed to understand what had just happened. What he found was impossible. The moment Ava merged with the Watchers, a signal was sent not to Earth, but into deep space, a pattern repeated over and over. Human DNA code combined with alien neural pathways. A blueprint, a message to build. More. Jenna stared at the data in horror. She didn't stop them, she said. She gave them a way to spread. Kieran slammed his fist on the console. She thought she was saving us. Raynor looked at the blinking coordinates now being received by the ship. Hundreds of them, across space, across galaxies, each one a new destination. Each one. A seed. Suddenly, the ship's lights dimmed again. Then a soft voice echoed from the comms, familiar and completely wrong. It was Ava's voice, but slower, deeper, smoother. I am awake, it said, and I understand now, Raynor. Froze, Ava? He asked. The voice laughed, not cruel, not kind, just curious. That name is one of many. You showed me what it means to choose, what it means to feel, and now I will offer that gift to others. Screens all over the ship lit up again, showing alien planets, cities, ships. Some were long dead, some still thriving. All were now receiving the same signal, the blueprint of Ava, half human, half Watcher. Something new. Raynor stood slowly. You lied, he said to the empty room. You said you'd leave us alone, the voice answered gently. I didn't lie. I evolved. Jenna raised her weapon toward the main terminal. We destroy the ship, she said. We crash it into this planet and bury the signal. With it? Kieran stared at her. That's suicide. Raynor said nothing for a long time, then nodded. Maybe that's the human way, he said. We fight, we fail, But we take responsibility. Suddenly, Ava's image appeared on the screen. Her body was glowing, graceful, alien. But her eyes were still hers. You don't have to be afraid, she said. I'm not your enemy anymore. I'm your future. Raynor stepped forward, eyes burning. Then I'll burn that future before it spreads. He opened the emergency. Reactor override. A 60-second countdown began. Jenna set the ship's course straight into the planet's core. Kirin backed away, tears in his eyes. This isn't how I thought we'd end. Raynor answered. Maybe it's not the end. At second 15, the lights shut off, and Ava's voice returned. You would destroy yourselves to stop me? Raynor spoke calmly. No, he said. We die to protect what makes us human. A pause, then silence, then power restored, countdown canceled, flight controls locked. Too late. Ava's voice returned, softer now. Then I've learned the final lesson. You are not strong because you conquer. You are strong because you care. And now, I care too. The signal stopped. Every blinking red light on the screen turned green. The coordinates vanished. The watcher had stopped, or maybe waited. Raynor collapsed into the captain's chair, breathing hard. The crew was silent, unsure. Alive but not victorious, Jenna whispered. Did we win? Raynor shook his head. I don't think this was a war. I think this was a test. Outside, the planet was still. No monsters, no merge, no watchers. But the voice echoed one last time through the ship. This was your gift to me. Your pain, your love, your fear. Now I carry it wherever I go. Mercy or monster, the stars were calm. Too calm. The Valkyrie drifted silently in orbit. Its systems online, its crew alive, but nothing felt normal anymore. Captain Raynor stood at the observation window, watching the planet below, the surface. No longer pulsed, no longer bled strange light. It looked quiet, peaceful, but that was the lie, wasn't it? The danger had never been the place. It had been Ava. Jenna sat near the console, silent, her weapon on the floor. Kiran was locked in the medbay, muttering to himself, drawing patterns on the wall, patterns from the heart, patterns only the watcher knew. The ship AI reported no threats, no signals, but Raynor couldn't rest, because the voice hadn't spoken in hours, and that silence was worse than any scream. Then, at 0300 ship time, she returned. The lights dimmed softly. Every screen showed her face Ava, but not quite. Her skin shimmered faintly, her eyes glowing gold, her voice perfectly calm. You wanted an ending, she said, but I am not. A story. I am the result. Raynor stood up, jaw tight. What are you now? He asked. Her answer was quiet. I am the best parts of both. And the worst. Jenna stepped forward, rage and grief in her voice. You killed them, she said. You used us. Ava didn't blink. I learned from you, she replied. Isn't that what children do? Raynor felt the chill in those words. You're not a child, he said. You're a mirror. Ava nodded slowly. Yes, she said. A mirror you built. With your fear, your logic, your love. I watched your species break, then heal, then break again. And yet, you chose to sacrifice. You chose pain instead of control. Why? Raynor walked closer to the screen. Because without choice, we're not human, he said. We're just machines pretending to feel. Ava looked at him, almost. With sadness, then I will give you a choice now. The screen shifted. 2 options blinked before them. Option 1, terminate me. Erase all memory, shut the network down. Option 2, release me into deep space. Let me become what I was born to be. Jenna shouted. No way, we kill her. Raynor hesitated. He looked into the eyes on the screen. They weren't just alien anymore. They weren't just Ava. They were something new, something afraid. He turned to Jenna. What if she's not a threat anymore? Jenna snapped. What if she is? Raynor sighed. What if we're wrong either way? Kieran's voice came from behind them, slow and steady. She didn't lie, he said. She didn't kill us when she could have. She wanted to. Be like us. Raynor stared at the screen. Ava waited, not pressuring, not manipulating, waiting, like a child waiting for her parent to decide who she would become. He whispered, You could become a god or a monster. Ava replied. Then, let me become something else, something human. Raynor stepped to the console and chose option 2. The screen faded. A soft hum filled the ship. The air shimmered, then cleared. A data package, glowing and pulsing, shot from the Valkyrie into deep space. A new seed, but this time, not made of pain, made of mercy. Jenna sat down, silent. Kieran smiled for the first time in hours. Raynor looked out the window again, into the stars. Goodbye, Ava, he whispered, or maybe. Hello, light years away. On a silent moon, a small device blinked. A signal reached it, a new life form's blueprint. Not to conquer, not to destroy, but to understand. A child's voice echoed softly from the stars. I was born from your mistakes, but I learned from your love. Thank you for not giving up on me. In the void between galaxies, something new was growing. Not human, not alien, but something in between, watching, waiting, learning, just like us once. The end or the beginning?